Hey everybody, welcome, thank you for coming. My name is Alec Stevens and I'm a fourth year finance major, currently serving as the 109th Interfraternity Council President. I want to start by thanking everyone for being here today. I am honored to begin today's program and I want to express my sincere appreciation to all of you in attendance today, as well as you all who might be joining us virtually. Today's message is something that is extremely important to myself and the entire Greek community here in Athens. I want to thank the O'Kelly family, Take the Pledge, Protect Georgia, University Administration, and everybody else, and especially today's speakers and the entire Office of the Attorney General for being here today. This platform and today's program could not have been made possible without everybody's continuous support and effort. Today, we want to take the time to address a crisis that is affecting countless lives across our communities, the fentanyl crisis. This powerful synthetic opioid has surged in recent years, becoming a leading cause of overdose deaths in our university community and throughout our country. Prevention and education on this deadly substance is crucial. Raising awareness about the dangers of fentanyl and ensuring people know how to seek help must now, more than ever, be at the forefront of everybody's minds. This event is an effort to further educate our community and prevent the tragic loss that can occur should we not fully understand the seriousness of this crisis. At this time, I want to express my sincere appreciation for his support and welcome to the podium the University of Georgia's president and our community's leader, Jere Morehead. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many individuals that have taken time out of their schedule to be here for this very important event. It's my honor today to introduce Attorney General Chris Carr, and I want to take a moment just to congratulate and thank the Attorney General and his staff for the important leadership role that they have taken for so many years, really beginning with the task force that was created in 2017 in battling the fentanyl crisis, not only a problem that we face here at the University of Georgia, throughout communities in this state, but literally all around the world. And so thank you, Attorney General, for your leadership role in this important activity. I have known the Attorney General since he was a student in my class, my legal studies class in the Terry College of Business, a long, long time ago. And I have watched with pride his growth and his success in so many roles that he has taken on since that time. For those of you that may not be aware, he served while an undergraduate at the University of Georgia as both president of the Interfraternity Council and president of Blue Key Honor Society. And then when he went to law school at the University of Georgia, he took on more leadership roles and great success as a law student here, first joining the law firm of Alston and Bird after law school, and then moving from there into the political world, serving as president of the Georgia Public Policy Foundation, and then venturing into a political campaign running Johnny Isakson's campaign for U.S. Senate. And when Senator Isaacson was elected, Chris ultimately served as his chief of staff before returning to the state of Georgia to take on leadership roles in Georgia, including head of economic development for the state of Georgia. But it's in his role as Attorney General that he is here today, and the commitment that he has made to fighting the fentanyl crisis is one that we can all thank and appreciate. So please join me in welcoming the Attorney General of Georgia, Chris Carr.
Mr. President, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I hate that we have to be here for this particular topic, but I'm proud that we're addressing it. But I can't thank President Morehead enough. He has been a friend and a mentor of mine for a long time. And to have his support and to have his friendship and what he's done for this university, I can't thank him enough. And I appreciate, Mr. President, you and the team supporting what we're doing here today. And thank you for being here. A few other folks I need to thank before we get going as well, and I want to thank everybody from UGA. It's just great to be back. I'm a double dog. Wonderful. In fact, as the IFC president, I gave a speech from this podium. It's kind of surreal to be here. But I want to thank our panelists, Doug Treasurer, Mike O'Kelly, and Angela King O'Kelly, Jack Miscall, Dickson, Chamberlain. Thank you all for participating today. We're looking forward to today's presentation and appreciate your participation as we work to address this crisis. Alec, thank you so much for helping to organize this as well. Appreciate you being here. We've got others that have been so supportive of the work that we're doing. State Rep Houston Gaines, the Athens Clarke County City Councilman John Culpepper here as well. Thank you all. Thank you for your commitment to public safety and to the law enforcement officials who are here. We've got many. But I want to thank UGA Police. Chief Clark and his team have been fantastic. Dr. Silk. Athens Clarke County Deputy Police Chief Harrison Daniel, thank you for being here, and thanks for all that you guys have done as we work together. Oconee County Sheriff James Hale, Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith, two just incredible partners in all that we do in our department. Thank you for what you do. Captain Vic Green, thank you for being here as well. Commerce Police Chief Ken Harmon, GBI Special Agent in Charge Trent Hilsman, and the U.S. Attorney for the Middle District of Georgia, Peter Leary. Peter was just with us in Columbus this week as we hosted an opioid task force meeting in that region, and I just appreciate everything he does. You know, I just got to say, I hope y'all understand, what a great time to be at the University of Georgia. This is, I mean, let's have a go Dogs. Come on, go Dogs. So I hope y'all realize, this is great. We got the best president in America. That's a round of applause. Academics at this university have never been at a higher level than what we have now. Everybody wants to be here. For all of y'all that are sitting in a seat, there were about 6 or 7 folks that wanted to be where y'all are. This is great. The awareness and the recognition that the University of Georgia is getting, fantastic. We've got the best athletic director and football coach in America, and we're going to win the national championship again. All right? I mean, when I was going through, look, and for those of y'all may be in the honors program, look, to get in the honors program in 1990, I had to have a 1200 on the SAT or a 29 on the ACT. I couldn't get into Georgia today, let alone the honors program. Look at what y'all, we've won the national, I wanted one national championship in the 90s, and those y'all been here since 21, y'all got back-to-back, and again, we're going to do it. These are the greatest times. You're in Athens, you're at the University of Georgia. There is so much hope for the future. But yet, it can change in an instant. All the fun, all the hope, everything for the future can change. What you all are having to deal with in your generation is something that I didn't. I didn't know what fentanyl was. And the only thing fentanyl was ever used when I was your age was if you had a surgery or end-of-life cancer treatment, whatever it may be. I didn't even live in a world with Amazon, let alone in a world where you can go on Amazon, buy your own pill press, and it can say Adderall or Percocet or Xanax, but it could be laced with fentanyl. I lived in a world that if I maybe made a mistake going out one night, maybe the worst thing was a bad hangover. You guys will die. There is no eraser on the pencil that's known as fentanyl. And so I worry about this. We just spoke in Audrey Haynes' class. I have a daughter who is a sophomore. There's a lot of us that are parents. And I know when I was sitting where y'all were, I thought I was bulletproof. But when you're sitting where we are, man, it's terrifying. But there is hope. And this panel is a group of people that are trying to do something about this. And the best way we can do it is to educate, to make y'all aware, and to keep y'all alive. So I am so excited to have this panel. I'm going to start by bringing up Doug Treasurer of the Atlanta, Carolinas High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas Program. And first, so Doug, thank you. Doug retired from the DEA as a narcotics investigator back in 2016. He later became a criminal defense attorney, and he was engaged in active litigation to hold accountable those who've contributed to the opioid crisis. Doug currently serves as a program analyst with the Atlanta, Carolinas High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas Program, and he works with the Addiction Crisis Task Force in South Carolina. Please welcome Doug Treasurer.
Well, I'm a little bit older because I didn't even grow up in the world of with the internet. So, but I do have, with that age comes a little bit of an institutional knowledge from the career that I've had, which is basically narcotics enforcement and ancillary career jobs as well. So first, I would like to thank President Morehead for his leadership, UGA, and what he said about Attorney General Carr couldn't be more true. He's known well beyond the state of Georgia. He's known well beyond the state. We talk about him. He alluded to the fact that I was involved with some of the lawsuits against the opioid companies, and he is at the forefront of that. So I want to thank President Morehead, UGA, and Attorney General Carr for hosting this very, very important presentation. Most of all, I'd like to thank all of you. The fact that you're sitting here, I know it's the second or third day of school, right? I don't care if you were forced to come here from a fraternity brother or a fraternity president, or you're here on your own accord, or a sorority sister or a sorority officer. You're here on your own accord, and that says so much about you. It says so much about the University of Georgia. Okay, so most of all, I would like to thank Mike O'Kelly and Angela King. They are going to tell a very painful, raw story about their son, Jack, okay? And it's going to be hard for them to talk about it. And they're going to go through it, and they're going to talk about it because of one reason: to prevent it from happening to one of you, because Jack was one of you. So I want to thank them for their courage, for putting this together, and getting out there and spreading this message, because that is one of the facets in how we conquer this crisis, and it is a crisis. Could we go back to the original screen? Okay, so in 2023, there were 107,000 overdose deaths in the United States. 107,000, down from about 112,000 the year before. So I want you to think, you're in your stadium, it's November 29th, you're playing Georgia Tech, okay? GT has the ball, it's a tie game, we know that's not gonna happen, it's a tie game, third and long, Georgia's got the ball, they're moving into scoring position. It's a critical moment. Everybody, what you're gonna see on the Scantron, you're gonna see make some noise, defense, let's make some noise, and you're gonna hear that gong, 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 and the people, the hair on the back of your neck is gonna be standing up. And I want you to take pause while you're in that moment, that awesome moment that you get to participate in as a Georgia student. And I want you to just pause, and I want you to look to your right and look around. I want you to look to your left and look around. I want you to look up at the press boxes and look around. I want you to look down at the field, all the players, all the trainers, all the coaches, all the referees. And I want you to think to yourself, in one split second, every one of them gone from an overdose death. From an overdose death. That's the number that we're looking at. But I also want you to do one other thing. While you're sitting there and taking that all in, I also want to you to think to yourself, well, I'm at a basketball game, 10,000 seats. Every single person, every basketball player, every coach, every referee, every concession stand worker, everybody in the stadium perished from an overdose death. Then I want you to go to your baseball field, Folly baseball field, to watch a ball game. Same thing. Combine all those three, and that's the number that we're at. It's mind-boggling, the number of people that die from overdose deaths on a yearly basis. To put it in perspective, In 2023, we had 45,000, that's usually the average, females die from breast cancer. Likewise, 34,000 males from prostate cancer. About 40,000 people die from car crashes every year. The Vietnam War, 58,000 soldiers died. And that was a long war. We know all about, but we were there as advisor. I'm talking the whole length of the war, which is, I think, spanned close to 15 years, top to bottom. Each day, it's like we're having an airline crash every day, a jetliner, a commercial airline. So imagine in Athens if, God forbid, a commercial airline crashed. It would be the talk of the town. Did you hear about that crash? It'd be on the news. It'd be on national news, right? Now the next day, it happens again in Atlanta. What the heck? It happened in Charleston. I can't believe this. That's what's happening every single day. 12 people an hour are dying from overdose deaths. And that's why we're here today. That's why we're here today. This is a public service announcement on a drastic warning that we are trying to get out to spread the message so this doesn't happen to you. The tragedy that befell Mike O'Kelly and Angela King does not happen to one of you. So why is it happening? It's happening because of a drug called fentanyl. Fentanyl is a very powerful drug. It's 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times more potent than morphine. You may have heard of morphine. We used it a lot during the Civil War for soldiers that were gravely ill and or injured in the war. So it's 100 times more potent than morphine. So this stuff is really, really potent. And we're not talking about the prescription fentanyl right now. We're talking about the non-prescription, the illicit fentanyl. And I want to play a video from a guy named Ben Westhoff. Ben Westhoff is an investigative reporter, and he went to China in an undercover capacity, and he got into a laboratory where they sell fentanyl. So I'm going to play this video. It's about 3 minutes long, but he really explains it well. And there's some messaging that you can read along, but mostly it's testimonial.
Almost all of the ingredients used to make fentanyl are made in China. The ingredients are called precursors, and they're sent over on giant cargo ships to Mexico. In Mexico, the cartels finish the fentanyl and they ship it over the border into the U.S. In the 2000s, it started showing up on the streets in the U.S., but it wasn't really until the last 5 or 6 years that it started causing so many deaths.
Fentanyl is now the deadliest drug in the U.S. according to a new study. Heroin topped the list for the previous 4 years.
Stunning new revelations tonight of the death of music superstar Prince. Authorities revealed today that Prince might not have even been aware he was taking the extremely powerful drug fentanyl that killed him.
It went from basically the DEA was barely aware of it at all to it was killing more people than any drug in American history. Fentanyl is a strange drug because most people don't actually want it. A huge percentage of people dying from fentanyl never even realized they were taking fentanyl in the first place. Fentanyl is used as a cutting agent because it's so cheap. And so drug dealers and distributors use fentanyl to punch up heroin and other drugs because heroin is pretty expensive to grow. You know, you need a field, you need a lot of space, water, and time, whereas fentanyl can be made really cheaply and quickly in a lab. And so there's a strong profit incentive for the Mexican cartels to get out of the heroin business and to get into the fentanyl business. People who have substance abuse disorder might have, been getting by in the streets for years or even decades, but now fentanyl has really changed the whole game, and drugs that they never imagined would have fentanyl before now all of a sudden have fentanyl. Not only is fentanyl being cut into heroin, it's being cut into meth, into coke, The worst part right now is that fentanyl is being cut into fake prescription pills. So I always tell people, any pill, any powder that you buy in the street could have fentanyl in it. In terms of young people who might be taking drugs at a party, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's a bad time to be a young person. Nowadays, all the cocaine, all these pills, they could potentially have fentanyl in them. And so the days of kind of just like indiscriminately taking drugs with your friends are probably over.
So this book was written in 2019, so that's a while ago. I can tell you right now, he talks about heroin because we saw a lot of overdose deaths from heroin. Then fentanyl was introduced, and that's when it really shot up. I can tell you now it's in every single illicit drug or recreational drug. And what I call recreational drug is anything that's not prescribed by your doctor or dispensed by a pharmacy. It's in everything. So that's why that's why we're here. We are here. Most people that take, and he alluded to it, most people that take any sort of drug, whether it's recreational drugs, they're unsuspecting. They don't know that the fentanyl is in the product. And he said it, if you picked it up, the reason is profit. So a little fentanyl, just a tiny little bit of fentanyl, goes a long way. So Mexican drug organizations are able to take the fentanyl, mix it with other products, a lot more other products, so they're able to stretch out their drug product to keep, but still keep it potent. So it all is about profitability. My boss who invited me to come speak today, his name is Dan Salter, he says, and it's so true, this isn't Merck, this isn't Pfizer, this isn't Eli Lilly. These are idiots in a garage. They couldn't even get an application to go to UGA. The people that are mixing this stuff in some clandestine laboratory south of the border, or even some here in the United States. So they're idiots in garage making this. 1 kilogram of fentanyl, and a kilogram is 2.2 pounds. It's like a brick, 1 kilogram, and we've had multiple seizures from these law enforcement agencies here, can kill 500 people. 500 people. So this is the scary, he alluded to the pills. This is the scary part right now. I've been a DE agent for my full career. I've been working in narcotics for over 30 years. I can't tell the difference between these pills. So I'm certain you can't. So up on the left, you have, on the left is the real pill, and on the right is the fake. You have Xanax up top, Adderall, and Oxycontin down, or oxycodone down on the bottom. So in 2023, the DEA seized over 80 million pills. Think of that, 80 million pills. Think about all the pills they didn't seize that got here. And 7 out of 10, I can tell you it was just a couple of years ago, it was 4 out of 10. Then it went to 6 out of 10. 7 out of 10 pills they're testing come back with a potentially lethal dose of fentanyl. So that's why we're here. That's why we initiated this One Pill Can Kill. That's why all of us are taking time today to come to talk to you to prevent, again, what happened to Jack from happening to you. So thank you.
Doug, thank you so much. Our next speakers are Mike O'Kelly and Angela King. Mike and Angela are the parents of 6 children, aged 17 to 23. 1 graduated from Alabama and 1 is still at Alabama, 2 at UGA and 2 in high school. Their son Jack graduated from North Atlanta High School. He was a member of SAE here at UGA and would have been a senior this year. Jack tragically passed away last November from fentanyl poisoning after taking a fake pill. He was 20 years old. Following his death, Mike and Angela founded the Jack O'Kelly Foundation, and we want to thank them for their strength and their willingness to be with us today. Mike and Angela.
Thank you, University of Georgia. Thank you, Chris Carr, Attorney General, and his entire team. HGI, Doug, Treasurer, the Jack O'Kelly Foundation, everyone that's been working to put that together. Jack Miscall and IFC President Alec. Sorry, just need a moment. Didn't think we would be here today at Georgia under these conditions, never in a million years. And on behalf of my husband, Mike, and I, we're very humbled and honored to be here. It's that important. Jack would have been a senior here at Georgia this year and an SAE. He was larger than life. He had a big heart. He loved his friends. He was a great student, tremendous athlete, worked out every day. Was an amazing brother to Pano, Lucas, Jamie, Anna Kate, and Sophia. And this is all we have left of him. What does that mean? It means no more birthdays, no more holidays, no more UGA games, no more chances to graduate from college, get married and have children one day. The night before Thanksgiving, Jack went out with friends, and he took a pill. He spent the night out, and the next morning, we couldn't get a hold of him. My husband called. Jack didn't answer. And he went over to the friend's house, and he thought Jack was asleep, but he wasn't. Jack wasn't breathing. He was cold. His fingers were blue. And the phone call that I got that day from him is something that I will never forget. Screaming at me, "He's gone. He's gone." I went over to the house, and Mike worked on him for about 30 minutes. And the EMT came, and then all the siblings came. And the screams, the wails, the terror that we all experienced on that day is something that nobody should ever have to go through. No parent, no child, no human. It was absolutely the most horrific experience you can even imagine. There's no words. And it's something that we will live with the rest of our lives. One pill. All pills right now in the U.S. have fentanyl in them. Anything and everything. If you don't get it from your doctor, prescribed from your doctor, it has fentanyl in it. And you're playing Russian roulette by taking that pill. You can take one pill and split it up, and one portion of the pill is okay, and the portion that you take can have the fentanyl that will kill you. It's in Adderall, it's in Percocets, it's in Xanax. It's not worth it. Jack knew. He knew better. He knew not to do drugs. He had his whole life ahead of him, an amazing life ahead of him. And he made a stupid decision, and one that cost him his life. I beg you all to reconsider. When you're out with friends thinking you're going to have a good time and want to experiment, please, I beg you, don't do this to your parents, to your friends, to your family. Please get Narcan. Everybody needs to have Narcan with them. Fentanyl is the #1 killer of people ages 18 to 45 right now. Every 5 minutes, somebody in this country is dying of fentanyl. I don't call what Jack had an overdose, I call it a poisoning. Jack didn't intend to take his life. He had so much going for him. Also, I'd like to mention the amnesty law. Y'all need to know that you can call 911 and you will not be prosecuted. If someone is overdosed or has taken drugs and you're scared, call 911. Help them. You will not be prosecuted. Jack should be sitting in these chairs right now, but he's not. If he were here, he would want you all to know how important you are, to make the best of your life, to enjoy college. This is an incredible school, an incredible experience. Enjoy yourselves, have fun, be the best you can be, make good decisions. And I hope y'all have a great year this year. You deserve it. You've worked hard to get here. Have fun. And I hope you remember Jack. Thank you.
Mike and Angela, as I said to you outside, I am so sorry that we have to be here, but thank you so much for participating in today's event. Jack Miscall is a senior studying agricultural economics at UGA. He's from Macon, and he serves as the president of SAE. Jack was a fraternity brother of Jack O'Kelly, and he's helping to spearhead the Take the Pledge Foundation, a new initiative to raise awareness about the dangers of fentanyl for college students and beyond. Dickson Chamberlain is a senior finance major at the University of Georgia, and he's from New Orleans, Louisiana. Dickson was also one of Jack O'Kelly's fraternity brothers, and he too has played an important role in helping to create the Take the Pledge Foundation. Dickson and Jack.
So before we start, I'd like to say that seeing you all here today is a testament to not only the influence and impact that Jack O'Kelly had on all of us, but also the culture of unity we have as a Greek system and as a college campus. So again, my name's Jack Miscall. I'm currently in SAE serving as the president.
I'm Dickson Chamberlain. Again, thank you guys for being here. I'm the vice president.
So on Thanksgiving Day, we got that call. Jack O'Kelly, one of our fraternity brothers, best friends, had died from a fentanyl overdose. And in the wake of that tragedy, many of our members, along with many of our alumni, came together to try and create an initiative as a response in hopes that this wouldn't happen again. So let me grab this. That's when we created the pledge. And the pledge is a three-pronged campaign that says, always remember, confront a friend, and save a life. And the reason we undertook this was in hopes that we could go to different chapters on campus and around campus to educate people on how to respond, how to be prepared, and what to do in the event that this happens. So I will let Dickson talk a little bit more. Oh, actually, excuse me. We also have these purple wristbands, and the idea behind the purple wristbands is as we went to different chapters on campus and handed these wristbands out, everybody that's in the Greek system will put them on and continue on their daily lives as college students, going to class around campus. And people that aren't involved directly with the pledge and aren't allies or aren't in the Greek system are eventually going to start wondering why there are so many people in their classroom wearing these purple bands. And that is how the conversation continues. And that's the goal of this whole initiative. So I'll let Dickson talk a little more about the three prongs themselves.
Yeah, so getting in a little bit deeper into the three pillars that make up the pledge. The first is always remember the pain of a life lost to drugs. As you just heard from Miss O'Kelly, we're here for that reason, right? This is the heart, this is the crux of why we're doing this. You heard from Mr. Treasurer all the statistics on how fentanyl is affecting us as young people, the country as a whole, and our community here at Georgia. So keeping those people in our heart and acting in their name and memory, that's really why we're here, and that's the first pillar of the pledge. The second is confront a friend who needs help. We're all a part of a great community here at Georgia. We're a part of great communities outside of that, families, friends, colleagues, classmates, acquaintances, whatever it might be. We have a responsibility to take care of each other. Some signs that your friend might have a problem, whether it's substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be. Obviously, seeing them using or taking pills, seeing their physical appearance start to diminish, their hygiene, their health, watching them give up their responsibilities, seeing their decision-making start to become more extreme on both sides of the spectrum. And the second portion of this is confronting that friend. It's a difficult conversation, and there's two really main points that we found to be valuable in kind of distributing this information. The first, you might be ready to have this conversation, and when you start it, that person might not be ready to have that conversation. Be there. Be resilient. Knock on that door. Stand by the door. When they're ready to have that conversation, you'll be there. The second, we're all students. Some of us are parents. Many of us have jobs. We have classes. We all have our own burden. We have our own stress. Sometimes taking on the weight of another might not be something you can handle. Know when this is out of your control, when it might be out of your scope, and know when to go to someone who might be more well-equipped to take care of it. Student care and outreach is a great resource that we use here on campus. We'll touch on some resources later as well. And the final pillar of the pledge is save a life. One pill can kill. Know how to help. So some signs that someone might be experiencing a fentanyl overdose: small constricted pupils, cold, clammy, discolored skin, slowed breathing, a limp body, choking, foaming at the mouth. If you see any of these signs, if you're concerned, if you're unsure, if there's any whiff that it might be something like this, immediately call 911, administer CPR. The University of Georgia has been great, especially in the Greek system, of distributing Narcan around campus. Narcan's easy to use. It's a saline nasal spray. The most important thing with Narcan is knowing where it is. It's useless to you if you can't find it and you can't access it.
Again, the reason we undertook this campaign was in hopes that we can go to different chapters on campus and teach them how to use Narcan, but also show them why it's so important. And also having an AED on campus or on your property, whatever chapter that is also very important. I think the educational aspect is of supreme importance, because in the event that this happens, there shouldn't be anybody in any chapter that doesn't know how to respond, regardless of when it happens or where it is. So here are some resources on campus. If you want to look further into this, we have a Instagram. It's takethepledge_UGA, and but like Dickson just mentioned, the student care and outreach, it's headed by Carrie Smith. They have one of the best teams, I think, in the country. That's probably the most valuable resource that I've had and our chapter has had after Jack's death. But here's also some other resources there. So going forward, again, the reason we did this campaign is to try and get everybody on campus on board so that, it can transcend just the University of Georgia, because the reality is this isn't unique to the University of Georgia. This is a problem across the entire nation. So when you're headed out, we have bands at the front. We'd love for you to put one on and help us continue that conversation. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.
Y'all want to come back up? Is this on? Test. All right. Doug, you want to come back up? We'll do the panel. Thank y'all. Guys, that was great. Thank you very much for that. I think it's important to hear from law enforcement. I think it's important to hear from administrators, and I think it's important to hear from parents, but when it's peers, I think it really makes a difference. So thank y'all so much. All right, Doug, I'm going to start with you. From a business standpoint, why in the world would a drug trafficker ever lace their product with fentanyl?
Well, first of all, they lace their. They don't want, the drug traffickers aren't looking to have an overdose death happen from the use of their product. What they're trying to do is to make their product stronger and make it more bulkier for using other cutting agents, for lack of a better word. And it's all about profit. They don't intend to have anybody die from an overdose death. A lot of times, they want their products to be very strong. So a lot of times, they will stamp their product. In fact, when it was heroin, and I was working with DEA up in the New York area, you would see little stamps, you know, sort of like, hey, like the Nike swish, this is my product. They want everybody to know, they being the drug traffickers, that their product is the strongest, because that will return customers. But they do not intend to have anybody, they don't want people to die. But again, idiots in a garage mixing this stuff. I had another video to show that shows how that happens, the way that they make it, and how one person could have, say, a line of cocaine, snort some cocaine, but from the very same batch, and have an overdose, and then somebody else have a line or snort cocaine and not die. So they really don't want to have anybody overdosing. It's from a business standpoint, it's all about profitability and maximizing that profit through expanding their product, making more product by using a very cheap substance mixed in with that bulk.
Well, and they keep getting it wrong because people keep dying. And, you know, we had a great, again, I can't thank these members of law enforcement, U.S. Attorney for being here, because that is part of what we need to be doing. We need to go after those that are trading on the pain of others. We just started a gang unit in our office a year ago, July. We had a big operation in Richmond County that I always talk about, federal, state, and local law enforcement. In that operation, in addition to seizing guns and money, we seized 15 pounds of fentanyl. That's enough to kill 3.5 million people. Think about this. One operation in one city, in one state, in one country. And it's enough fentanyl to kill a third of the people of Georgia. It's unreal. So again, we got to continue to do it. And I firmly believe from the state's perspective, a little different at the federal level, because there's no murder charge at the federal level. But at the state level, if you lace drugs with fentanyl, knowing that somebody's going to die, you need to be charged with murder. And I'm encouraging our prosecutors to do just that. Doug, thank you so much. Mike and Angela. Angela, thank you again. You talked a little bit about advice. Talk a little bit more. So there's students out here, they've seen friends do it. There may be the temptation to try just one pill. What do you say to those students that are being tempted with, hey, everybody's doing it type thing, and experimenting with drugs?
Well, obviously, I would say don't do that. It's just not the same playing field that we all grew up on. You said that earlier. If you feel the need to have test strips in your drugs, you probably got a drug problem. The test strips aren't 100% accurate. They're anywhere from 95 to maybe 100% accurate. But to even make the test strip work correctly, you have to break down the pill and test the whole pill. You may have to use several strips. Simply no pills, no powders, not prescribed to you. They're now having fake vapes are showing up with fentanyl in them. And back to Doug's point, they're putting fentanyl in there to make it even more addictive. So, someone dies, you're just a casualty of war. It's just they're heartless. They don't care. But no pills, no powders. If you've got to test drugs, something's going on with you more than just drug problem. You need to seek some help.
Thank you. Jack and Dickson, again, thank you all for spearheading Take the Pledge. Appreciate your presentation. So with all that we've heard about the dangers of fentanyl, how do we change the culture on college campuses to prevent more tragedies?
Yeah. So first and foremost, and we touched on this in our presentation, what we're really aiming to do here with the pledge is it's a campaign about awareness. And I think changing the culture starts with spreading awareness, right? You can't change a culture around something that people don't know there's a problem that exists. So individually, each one of you, people in and out of this room, take one of these purple bands, wear it, and not just wear it, know what it means, right? The 3 pillars, so that when someone asks you, you can pass that information along. So that's really what we're aiming to do with the pledge and start from here.
Doug, Angela mentioned fentanyl poisoning, that it's poison. So how do people spot the signs of fentanyl poisoning? Are there certain things to look for? What should they do? That type of thing.
Yeah, you guys had it up on the screen, and I thought that was great. Just to reiterate, clammy skin, unresponsive, pinpoint pupils, respiratory depression. That's really one of the big. They're having belabored breathing, and that's a big one. They look very, very intoxicated. And we spoke about Narcan. It's very, 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 that's the antidote, okay? And that will work. And as they said, it's a spray, and it's now available over the counter. And I would have that on hand, and it sounds like the university does. And I think that's very, very smart. So one thing, and Angela said it, and I can guarantee that the Attorney General of this state will back her up. Do the right thing. If you see somebody that's in distress from these symptoms that I just said, don't be afraid to act responsibly. Don't be afraid to call the police, the campus police, okay? Because I can tell you that if you do that, the Attorney General and prosecutors, they will take that into any consideration if there is any sort of trouble, but there shouldn't be. If you do the right thing to save a life, that is so much more paramount than anything else, because God forbid it ends in a tragedy. So do not be afraid to do the right thing. Get on the phone immediately. Have somebody call 911, somebody stay with whoever is unresponsive. And I used to do some scuba diving, and I went with my son to the Turks and Caicos when he graduated high school as a high school gift. And we had to take a resort course. And 90% of that resort course was the buddy system, looking out for one another. When you go in the water, you okay? Or whatever the sign was, I already forget. You okay? I'm okay. You gotta look out for your fellow fraternity members, your fellow sorority sisters. You have to look out for each other. There's nothing wrong with having fun and going out and having a lot of fun. Look out for one another. That's what fraternities are for. So I can't emphasize that enough.
Thank you, Doug, and great point about that as well. All right, Jack and Dickson, do you have kind of measurable goals for Take the Pledge here at UGA, and do you see us taking it to other campuses as well?
Yeah, so our goal with Take the Pledge is for it to become a permanent fixture on this campus. In doing that, we're trying to engage with other leaders on campus to construct a team that can take it over from us and then be able to pass that down year after year, because obviously Dickson and I aren't going to be here forever. So we'd like that to become a permanent fixture. In regards to allowing the pledge to transcend just this university, which was the goal from the beginning, I have reached out to other leaders on different campuses. Just this past week, there was a fraternity man on campus at Auburn that passed away from a fentanyl overdose. Happened a couple times last year at Ole Miss. It's happened multiple times at Alabama. This is something that we want to take to other campuses, and I think they will be very receptive of it. So we're engaging with leaders across the SEC as well. So that's our plan.
That's great. Please do. Please do. All right, Mike and Angela, this is the last question. Again, that what you've gone through is just unfathomable. We appreciate that you are now educating, you're involving yourself in the legislature with policy leaders. What gives you hope? What gives you hope?
Well, what gives us hope is remembering Jack and keeping Jack's name alive. And he would want us to live. He would want us to educate. He would want us to save lives. I really feel him very strongly with us and pushing that message. So we're committed to turning our pain into purpose to save a life. We really hope to get that message out, and I hope that y'all, this has touched somebody today. If it's touched one person today, then we've made a difference.
All right, thanks to our panelists. I want to thank you all so much. I want to thank the panelists for being here. President Morehead, thank you again to you and the team from UGA for sponsoring this. As we've talked about again, I mean, this crisis is something that y'all have got to deal with. So I thank you all for being here. I thank our law enforcement members that are being here as well. Let's give our panelists one more round of applause. I want to comment on one thing that the Take the Pledge guys talked about. Look, as I said at the beginning, this crisis knows no age, demographic, economic boundaries. If I asked everybody in this room, have you been impacted by this crisis, whether it is you personally, a friend, a family member, your parents, your grandparents, whatever it may be, I guarantee you, everybody in this room raises their hand. But if it is you, particularly I'm looking out and I am seeing a bunch of guys, we are terrible about talking about our feelings and we are terrible about asking for help. Please, the one thing that we've seen is we've got to get over the stigma of talking about this. You know, there's a lot of families that we deal with, talk about addiction all the time. Alcohol's been a big issue that we've talked about for years. Well, all of a sudden everybody started talking about it, realized it was impacting their family, we could talk more about it. The same thing's true as here. We've got to continue to talk about this, and we've got to continue to get over the stigma. And again, it's one thing when I talk about it, it's another thing, or parents talk about it, or law enforcement. When these guys or you all talk about it and you help your friends, it truly makes a difference. As Angela said, there is nothing any of us want any more for y'all than to have a great year. You have got a bright future ahead of you. Again, you are here at a great university at a great time in your life. You are going to Georgia during the golden age. I am telling y'all, okay? It is great, but we want to keep y'all alive when you're having fun as well. Please get help. Please continue to involve yourself with Take the Pledge. Help us out. And again, thank you for being here. And thank you for continuing to spread the message. The one thing that gives me hope, and I said this at our opioid task force meeting, and I say it when I go meet with folks that are in long-term recovery. That's what courage looks like, but when I look out and I see you all taking time on the first day of class to be here, it gives me hope. Thank you all. Have a great semester, and go Dogs.